What about free milk for preschoolers? What role does the free milk scheme play in young child's diet? Let's speak to the nutritionalist Ben Wilson, who's joined us. Morning, Ben.
Good morning.
Free milk, good idea or not?
Well, the whole idea just links into a whole bigger picture of nutrition, which is are the children getting the nutrients that they need? And when you look at this particular issue, you're talking 1/3 of a pint of milk. It's very small in the overall picture of a child's diet, and it needs to be looked at in that reflection. Though it's important to get the calcium into the body, it's got to look at, is this the bigger picture?
What are the other bits that milk gives you apart from calcium?
So like saying, there's two sides of the fence when it comes to dairy. Obviously, we're told by the government to have so forth, as in the government scheme with this in this point. There's also a growing side of dairy where they're saying it's not so good for us, that there are other calcium sources, there's other sources of protein, and we don't need to have it so much within the diet. So, like with many aspects of nutrition, it can be very much a polarity, and very passionate people on both sides of the fence.
Okay, so, but those arguing to keep it, say calcium, protein.
Yep,
What else?
and then some elements of the fat in there, obviously full fat slightly more than semi-skimmed, and containing the nutrients that our bodies need. Phosphorus and is in there as well, magnesium, and the proponents say this is what we need for strong bones and teeth, and the detractors say there's other issues to the bigger picture.
There seems to be an increase in lactose intolerance over the past couple of years. I mean, what's led to that?
Yeah,
Why does it happen?
Well, it's interesting. You said this whole issue started in the 1940s with the free milk. We're in a completely different world now, 60 years later, as far as the toxins that come into our system. And as a result, the body's getting more and more beaten up, should we say. And as a result, we're less able to handle foods such as lactose, and more people are becoming lactose intolerant. So lactose being a component of milk and dairy.
Right. What does it mean, though, when you're lactose intolerant?
Well, if you're lactose
what can
intolerant,
it cause?
yeah, well, what it can cause is where it should be healthy, the food you're drinking, the food you're eating, and so forth. Your body actually reacts badly to it, has problems digesting it, which can then cause IBS type symptoms. And for some people, then get an immune type reaction where they'll get all sorts of negative traits that can develop post eating a sensitive food, in this case lactose as in dairy.
Okay, and are there any numbers as to how many people are now suffering?
Again, it's one of those big
Lactose
debates.
intolerance.
One side of the fence says this isn't a problem, the other side says it's a huge problem, so it's trying to see where it is. And as almost every aspect of nutrition, it comes down to the individual. Your child, that's the question. Your family, how are they reacting to it? That's the real big important answer.
All right, Ben. Thanks very much. Ben Wilson, a nutritionist there. On milk, let us know your thoughts this morning. A couple of you have written in already, so I'll be reading some of your thoughts out a bit later on.
Indeed. For instance, Jill says she was advised by her GP, where you're talking about lactose intolerance, to put her 3-year-old son on a dairy-free diet because he suffered from asthma and eczema. He hasn't looked back since. He's now 6'5" and 25 years old.
6'5", is he? Cornelia says milk is vital for growing children, and she talks about cod liver oil as well, often given to impoverished areas in London pre the 1914-18 war as well, by compassionate teachers who understood the value of good food. At the time, 4 minutes before 7.
Still